Well, hello there. It's me again. Yep. One that is joyful about being here. Yes. I know that, you know, we be as consistent as we can. We'll just say that. And that's nothing more. University gets tight sometimes. But I also like being here. This is very important to us. So here we are. Wisdom for today. I was thinking of understanding God's love in a meditation. Yes. Now this can be powerful, so I'll just let you know that in the beginning. It might sound very easy, but it sometimes isn't. Um, the meditation is very simple. You see yourself uh, allowing God's light to come down on a flower. So you're actually allowing the love of God to flow through you and grow the flower. You're not creating the increase, but you're allowing the increase to flow through you. And then you can experience God's love as God loves on a flower, which is finite, very. It's going to be there a little while and then it's gone. But God gives it all the attention that it requires to grow, become beautiful, and then it fades. Something like us. Except we have a longer lifespan. But if you do this, what you will find is that you start to really feel the love of God moving through you. And you're like, oh, yeah, it feels good. So then you probably want to spend some communion time with God because, like, you can become friends. Thoughts, huh? We'll leave it there. So if you require to get a hold of me, it's well, foof. Let's try this again. Eric at starthealing.me. Eric at starthealing.me. Eric at starthealing.me. And if you wish to get a hold of me, just reach out. And I will send you a link, and you can use that link to book an appointment, and we will talk. That one is without charge. Oh, let's move on to that story. Hey, it got pretty good, eh? You know, lots of food eaten, lots of things happening. He has a major midnight snack coming if he requires it, but it's sitting on ice, so it can be there for a while. He decides to take the mushrooms out when he gets home because he didn't want those to get too cold. And he actually finds an old pan and he puts them on just in the back of the big old round thing where there's less heat. Keeps them nice and warm. Does the same with the onion rings, but the rest of it he'll just leave in there for now. He's got a pot. He can pour it in. It can get warm. Sitting thinking about grace, what he's going to say about grace, the scriptures he'll use, all of those things. And he gets up and grabs a few onion rings, a few mushrooms, and looks at his Bible. And he's got a few scriptures there that'll work, he said. And he plans to be very simple. Thinking about 30 minutes, he gets up and gets the last of the mushrooms, a little couple more onion rings. He's enjoying this kind of study. Sits down and God takes him into places like Psalm 19. He looks at that and the whole universe crying out to God. Worship. Amazing. And he looks at Christ's life on earth and sees the moments of grace that happen. And it's, wow, this is incredible. So anyway, all of the munchies are gone. He checks the stew is still, still mostly just about getting frozen in there, which is fine. He'll just throw it in the pot in the morning and have it as uh, breakfast. That'll be good. And then he can go and preach. So he goes to rest. He wakes up, about 5, and realizes the stew is not enough. Hmm. She said I could go and cook, so I guess I will. People see that he's down there. He's, you know, got up, stumbled around, got himself washed up, came back from the hot springs, found his best shirt. Well, best shirt he'd been given, best pants he had, buffs off his boots, and has combed his hair, shaved. He's ready as best he can be. Takes off that shirt, mm, those pants now that he knows that they're going to look nice, and puts them in a bag, and he'll uh, he'll come back up here and grab them after breakfast. The stew didn't do it. Probably won't do it for anyone else either. Goes down and plenty of flour. Um, I'll definitely buy more of that. And, some baking powder. Look at that. There's some maple syrup in the corner. Still looks edible. Smells it. Oh, it smells like maple syrup. That's good. Rummaging around in the freezers and he finds some blueberries probably from last year or the year before. Who knows? They look good. They're not too frozen. They look good. He throws those in with some stuff and um, makes up a big batch of pancakes and realizes better make more. So he makes more, and has that nice syrup and takes Marge, put it out on tables. And I don't know how much to charge for breakfast, but I'll figure it all out. Make sure she gets enough supplies to keep going. That's exactly what happens. About 15 minutes after he started cooking, people started showing up. First guy was the plane guy. He goes, slept well. I don't like anything but my own bed, but that worked. How long is it going to take you to rebuild that thing on Monday? I have to take it all down, clean it all up, put it all back together, and then I want to check all your bits and pieces and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Oh my, that could take a day. Oh yes. But you can fly out by about 3 or 4 if I get up. Okay. That's not bad. Well, it's night anyway, right? Well, yeah, true. We'll do the same thing, bring up a bunch of cars, give you a nice wet lighted thing, and off you go. Well, that'd be good. But yeah, I understood it's going to take a bit of time. Well, yeah, hopefully we don't need any parts. Oh yeah, that'd be good. I brought a few in case, but I have kicking around that have been used by others. And, you know, some tools that may be useful. Okay. Yeah. He said, well, we'll handle that. And the washer lady came in with her 2 sons who looked like they were a little sore, but they were all right. They'd had fun. I looked at the pancakes, those looked good. He also went down in the root cellar and found some taters and turned those into hashies and fried those up on the flatter. Knew the fuel was getting low, but he used a lot of the wood stove and big old cast iron flats to cook that stuff up. And the corner, wouldn't you know it, growing mushrooms, of course. They look good. So he took a couple of those and got a hold of an onion and he bashed those up together. He had noticed some beans last night, and without saying anything, he had put those to soak at the back of the stove. And they were soaked and warm and getting pretty soft. So he strumbled around and found some barbecue sauce. And poured that in with a piece of bacon that he found that wasn't big enough to feed everyone that was coming in. There was about 15 of us here and now. A couple of the wonderful people from the reserve had also showed up, and a couple more. It's going to be a big house. It keeps the pancakes flowing, got the beans going, and puts the beans on the place of the people that want them. I said, "Oh, are you sure you want to do that?" Yeah, yeah. Got a little Beano in them. I put a little cider vinegar. That'll help. Won't completely finish it, but gotta have it. Yeah, okay. So they're eating and everything's good. And he goes to clean up, and the girls go again. No, no, no. You go in there, pray in there, in the big room in there. That's where the church is. And he goes, all right. He goes in, and there's a banquet hall basically, and you see them coming in with their breakfast and a couple more people, and now he has about 40 people. And he goes, okay, well, how does this work? Washer lady says, well, I play the organ. I can't play a piano worth beans, but I can play the organ. Okay, well, we'll have a couple of songs. Anybody got favorites? Well, Onward Christian Soldiers got requested enough that it went on, and then, The Garden, of course, that's an awesome one. And he talked about a couple of praise songs that they might like, and they had a couple. Uh, Ended off with It's Well With My Soul. And they were all looking at him, and he stood up and went and sat on a chair. He said, I'm not a preacher. I can't go behind that thing. But I'm going to tell you a story of grace. It started at the very beginning. He said, you can look up these scriptures. I'm not going to give you them. You're going to have this kind of bit of study, but they're there. Genesis 3-ish, those type of things. We'll talk about it as we go. And he said, he said, grace is an amazing thing. Grace is part of God's name because he had grace when his entire creation, which at that moment was Adam and Eve, decided to go left instead of right, to do things that weren't correct, instead of scrapping everything, which he could have. If you read it, it was like he is the omnipotent God, master of the universe, all of those things, Alpha and Omega. If he wanted to, he could have just started over, but he didn't. We ended up in a place called Lessons, and we see grace from those points on. Go a little farther in Genesis, and you'll see that at the beginning, he slayed an animal and gave them skin so that they wouldn't freeze. Grace. You see moments like that all the way along. And as he continued his sermon, he talked about Christ and grace, the ultimate grace of the cross. He ended it there. Said, anybody want to come up and pray? There was a whole bunch of people up at the front. He prayed with them, prayed over their health issues and their feelings, and even a couple that had come in at the last that looked like they had been on a bender the night before actually came forward and accepted Christ. That was a pretty good day. That was it. And he said, we'll go out there and, definitely going to take an offering because, we're using her place, we're eating her food. We want to make sure she gets paid. And they all agreed. A couple of the natives. Anyway, they call themselves natives, so we can too. They were native to the land, that's what they said. They'd come from the reserve. They didn't have money, but they had a couple of frozen chickens. Well plucked, looked good, accepted. There was a bunch of other stuff like that that came in. It's put in the freezers and fridge. It was a resupply. He started to understand that's how it worked here. A little bit of money came in. That was always good. That'll be good for the trip. Fuel and things. He had that idea in his head. We'll be looking at it soon. He got a little tired and he simply said, well, there's beans, bread, leftover home fries there, pancakes, of course, in the oven. It's a brunch time. Um, One of those nice people from the reserve said, well, I have 3 dozen eggs here, and I have another 3 dozen for her. That is my tithe. Okay, sounds good. So he whipped up a bunch of scrambled eggs. He just likes to. Somebody had been making goat's cheese, and he said, well, we'll add some of that in there. And he got some peppers from a guy that had a little greenhouse, and he had a couple of peppers. He cut those up, and he steamed them, and so I should have done that first. But anyway, he got most of the skins off and into the things of the eggs it did, and he got a couple more mushrooms from downstairs and replanted the tubs. He thought that might work. Who knows? He wasn't a gardener, but it looked like that's what she had been doing. So he did that. He found a shiitake. There was three or four, so he took one, took it up, and fried it all up, and then put it in with the eggs, and they were pretty happy. That was yum. That was enjoyable. Sat back and walked through the Roman road with a couple of the that had accepted Christ at the front, and they really liked that. They enjoyed it. They'd be back, and he said, "Well, we'll find you a Bible and get you reading, because that's how you find out about God." He got really, really exhausted by the end of the afternoon. He was like, well, I'm gonna go take a siesta. I gotta lay down. And he looked like he was in a lot of pain. And the washer lady walked over and said, are you in pain? Yeah, just a bit. All that work and, spiritual work that I'm doing. She said, I noticed. Do a lot of spiritual work, don't you? Oh, people require care. God wishes to care for them. I'm just the vessel. She said, well, tell you what, um, everybody's kind of going out for walks and hikes. That's kind of what they do. I'm not up for that today. I was washing way too much miner's clothes. So if you're okay with this, and it's up to you, but we go up to the hot springs and I work on your back and wash your hair and, sit in your skivvies and I'll sit in mine. Just maybe you can wash my hair after if you're up for it. He goes, yeah, sure, fine, do that. So they wandered up, sat in the hot water, and he felt better. And she washed his hair, and he washed hers. And he kept his eyes closed. And she said, "You are a man of integrity." He goes, "Well," he goes, "I don't need to be able to see. All I need to do is put my hands where they belong, not where they don't." They had a good wash. She said, "Since you're going to do that, I'm going to have a good wash." And he goes, "Go right ahead." And she had a good wash, and then got out and she got dressed. And she said, "I'm decent again." And he looked, and she was. And she said, well, I'm gonna leave and let you get dressed and then maybe we can sit and chat. I have some lemonade. Oof, lemonade. He said, that'd be awesome. I'll go get it. She said, you get dressed and get back to your house and just sit on your bed. I'll come and rub your back and you can have a nap. And some lemonade and we can chat. He goes, go. We're gonna leave it there. Got a blessing for today? Well, yeah, of course. You know, there is a way that God wishes to bless us, with abundance, interwoven with joy, interconnected to unexplainable peace, with an overflowing nature of what God is, which is unconditional love, support, respect. Yes, and there are those other things. We have to focus there. When we're focusing on a blessing, it's a blessing. All those other things can move away from us a little farther. According to his will and wish, and whatever his brush wishes to also paint. According to your will and wish, it can be. We come before you, Father, Spirit, Son, and this story is getting interesting. Things are happening. Life is occurring. People are finding you. Isn't that life? It is. We ask you to push back the darkness. Give these people a connection that they can understand and know that you are God. You are with them, and you will be with them till the end of the age and beyond into the heavenly realms. That's where you'll be. And so, Father, we leave you in this place of absolute reverence, adoration, and praise. And we ask for your courage and strength and grace and mercy as we go. We say thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude. Standing in awe and honor, respect, allowing all glory to flow to Father, Spirit, Son. This is, and so this is. When you rest, rest well. When you wake, wake well. And know that your path is well lit by God. Blessings.